Welcome to the Immortal Podcast.
All right, y'all. Welcome, y'all. Another episode of Immortal Cast. We are here today with my dude, Josiah Harrell. What's up, Josiah?
What is up?
What's up, my man? So, for all you that don't know already, who Josiah Harrell is my boy, and we've been training together a few years now. He had his UFC debut a couple weeks ago on short notice. 8 days notice, I think.
Just about.
Yeah, 8 or
Might have
10,
been
something like
less.
that.
Jeez.
But man, Joey has a crazy story, man, leading up to that. Very unique story. And, keeping it real, man, like I've been inspired by you, bro, by your story. So we want to
Appreciate
get that out to everyone. And, and let's just tell motherfuckers, like, what it's like to not quit, man. Cause that's, it's funny because we were talking the other day when we did the interviews at the UFC with Bisping, Felder, and them. And I was said, they were. Well, Heidi came up to me afterward, and she said, what was it like? What was Joey like? How did he handle that? I was like, I thought he fucking handled like a champ, bro. I didn't know anything was even really wrong with him that bad, And then I was talking with Dave and Tim later, who are your longer time coaches. And they're like, bro, like, you don't know, like, what he actually went through behind the scenes. They're like, he just didn't say nothing to you. So I kind of like to hear a little bit about that today. But, yeah, let's just start off, man. What the fuck is Moya Moya?
Moya Moya is a brain disease that is a progressive disease that eventually closes off whichever artery or both towards the base of your brain to your brain. So it closes off those arteries slowly over time and eventually increases your risk the more it's closed off of either having a stroke, a seizure, or just dying.
Yeah, from what I understand, I mean, you could have died practically at any minute, right?
Yeah.
I mean, especially like if you were to get choked out or knocked out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's it just increases the likelihood of having a seizure with anything that has to do with increasing or decreasing heart rate, blood thickness. Um, Alcohol will do it, cardio will do it. Anything that involves blood flow can pretty much be the last thing you do.
So the way you would die, would it be like your the blood would be cut off to the brain completely, right? That's the way that it would work out, right?
It wouldn't be completely. What would happen is, since it can mess with the flow of the blood, anything that can, if it gets like a small stop and then tries to keep going, those will cause seizures. Those will cause problems, which will eventually lead to death. Mostly seizures and strokes, or just any deficiencies with whatever can happen in between those.
Wow, man. Have you ever even heard of this shit, Roddy?
No, I'm just, I'm curious about it though. In terms of like what were your symptoms that led up to where you decided to go get it checked out?
Oh, well, some people get symptoms. I really didn't have any, so we didn't find it until we were supposed to fight Jack De La Maddalena out in UFC 290. So I didn't have any, but if you go back and read it, it makes a little bit of sense. So it's problems understanding language, but you add that with dyslexia, and you're like, okay, well, that could be just that. And then you go impulsive, but you put that with ADHD, and then I already got that. You go trouble balancing. I've luckily been very athletic all my life and really didn't have any problems with controlling my body. But it's the things, basically, long story short, the things would stack with things I already have problems with me. So then they're just like, okay, that's this is that, and so on and so forth. So it pretty much just was like, okay, cool, you can read this, but you don't understand this. And we were in IEP all the way through from from little 3rd grade probably all the way up to high school. So anything that they could have put on Muay Muay was just covered over by something else that's wrong with me.
The math adds up, huh?
Yep.
Right. Dude, that's so wild, man. So you didn't know, Roddy. So he took the Jack Della Maddalena fight on, well, that was like 6 or 7 days notice,
Yeah.
right? That was like the same kind of deal. That was International Fight Week card, right?
hmm Yeah, it
Yeah.
would have been International Fight Week. I think it was July, June, sometime last year.
24, was it? 2024?
2023, because I had surgery in 24.
That's wild, man.
And they just so when did you go, like you were getting checked out for it, or like when did you know what was going on? What was the moment where you like they diagnosed you?
Oh, so we had a brain scan Wednesday. We had a brain scan Wednesday throughout that fight week, but we're running around everywhere. So we're still doing all this. We do our brain scan, we come back, we weigh in Friday, then they call us back up to have like they basically just said there was something wrong with their scans, and their excuse is I must have been moving, which I knew I wasn't moving. I'm like, I mean, you guys are already lying to me. I was still. So you guys told me to not move at all. That's what I did. And then from there, we rescanned them, and everybody's just quiet. And I'm like, yo, is everything okay? You're like, yeah, you're good. You can go back now. I was like, is there anything wrong? This nurse looked at me right in the face, was like, no, there's nothing wrong. I go, you're a liar. So I go back, I nap. I mean, I'm still recovering. I really didn't have much food in me. I wasn't hungry. So just drinking water. And then by the time that was the plan. By the time I get back to the room, Maurice is there, my old manager. Dave is running back, I believe, and then Tim's there. I'm like, what is this? And in my head, I'm like, oh, Jack must have got hurt. And I'm a dumbass because I was just in a room getting my brain scanned, and they're like, no, you have a brain disease. I'm like, dope. Can I fight? And they're like, no, I don't think you understand. I was like, I get it, dude. I just don't care. Can I fight? And long story short, they're like, no, you can't fight. And I was like, this is gay. And we just went and got some ice cream.
Yeah, so that was so some people may not understand exactly what you're talking about, right? It was with the at the hospital, or not even hospital, but the
No.
MRI place, CT scan place. That's when they thought you were actually moving around during the brain scan.
Mm-hmm.
But then they realized like something isn't right in this fucking brain of this guy.
No, well, this is the weird thing. So whenever it's called Moya Moya, but the pronunciation or the English translation of it is called puff of smoke. So in that CT scan or whatever, that's what it looks like. It looks like a cloud of smoke. So then, like, they're saying this, and I can understand why they're like, okay, this is blurry. He must have been moving, and they scan it again, and they go, no, he's not moving. We just watched him, but that's how it looks. So it looks like there's a cloud of smoke in wherever it's located.
So then you went in for like a second diagnosis on it?
Yeah, so they just went through, made sure that what they're looking at was correct, and making sure that it wasn't from me moving, and then they pretty much was like, yeah, dude, brain disease, kapow, and left me from there.
And then where it gets real crazy, Roddy, you'll love this, man. So that surgery, I mean, I love it, but it's pretty fascinating. This surgery. So you went out to Stanford, if I'm right, and you get the surgery out there, because not like every fucking brain doctor deals with this. Like it's actually really rare, right? And I think did the UFC help you get the hook up at Stanford or anything, or how did that
Maurice
come
might
about?
have.
Okay, your manager did.
Yeah,
Yeah, so you got there, and the surgery is, how long did you say it was? Like 8, 9 hours?
9 hours.
9 hours surgery, and you're awake, right? Or no?
No, you're not awake. You're just so they sedate the crap out of you, and I mean, I was asleep. So I mean, some people might just be up, but by the time you wake up, just from being strapped down, everything hurts. Like your joints hurt, your elbows hurt, your knees, just anything that was not is supposed to be lubed up and moving was hurting. So anybody that can just chill on a couch for 12 hours, that could not be me. That's not in my forte. It's not in my future. So it's just it not makes me freak out, but I don't even like thinking about being strapped down for that long ever
Right,
again.
right. And what was it like leading up to that surgery? Because that was when me and you first started kind of getting closer. Like we were training a
Mhm.
lot then, but wasn't really coaching or anything. And to me, I mean, I mean this like offensively, but like you were just a guy that was training with me. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I was still competing, and everybody's the same, right? When you're competing, I mean,
Mhm.
you got training partners and your coaches, and that's it. But um, what was it like leading up to that surgery? I mean, were you kind of nervous, or were you kind of like just accepting? I know you've talked about that a lot. How you're just you're close with God and everything, and you're
Mhm.
very accepting of life. But I mean, you had to be feeling something while going up into that surgery.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really get too close with God until after or I'd say during the process of recovery and everything with the surgery, just because I'm not one to try to put my burdens on anybody else. So that's for me to
Yeah.
handle. And like if it was to a point where I knew I couldn't handle it, that's different. Like, go get your help, go seek your help. But as a person that wants to be a father one day or a man, I don't care to put my burdens on anybody else. Like if I can't deal with it, then I will go get and seek help. But I don't need to put it on my family. I don't need to put it on my friends. I don't need to put it on anybody except for myself. If they question or ask, I'm going to tell them the truth. But I don't care to try to put that on anybody. Whenever I was going out there, you'd get nervous. Like the flight, nothing. I mean, it's kind of like a fight. Like you'll get that first nerves out of the way. Like when you sign, you're like, cool, I got to get ready.
Mhm.
And then like nothing really happens. And then when you're in that back room, and you're like, okay, well, it's getting real. So whenever they're doing everything, and I was there for a week, so it's almost just like a fight. And they're going through it, and they have to like cut this part of my groin open to shoot like contrast in it to measure my brain and doing all this stuff. So it was fine until like probably right as I was getting sedated. I'm like, oh, this is getting real, because you can start seeing them get the crown out that goes around my head, the halo.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm going to sleep. So they just kept, the only thing I was thinking of, and this is how I knew it was bad. I was thinking, I was like, don't go to sleep. And they're sedating me, like, keep giving him more, keep giving him more. I'm like, you better not go to sleep, dude. And they just kept doing it. And eventually, I did pass out. So, but yeah, no, it was fine until like day of, where I'm like, okay, well, this is it. So it was
Mhm.
almost exactly just like a fight.
Mm.
But what
And
was
I'm
I'm
go ahead.
sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
No, you go.
Well, I was curious as to like when they do the surgery, like what are they doing? Like in terms of like what are they trying to accomplish?
Okay, so they took 2 arteries, 2 veins. They took them out, I think somewhere towards my face, forehead, somewhere. And they cut open my skull, took my skull out, threaded the arteries, veins through there. Took one up here, one back here. So a vein connected up here. They did a bypass up here and up here, so I can get blood flow up there. So now instead of getting it through my neck, it's now coming through my face.
What's up, everybody? It's Roddy from the Immortal Podcast with UFC legend and knockout artist Matt Brown. Quick plug for our official sponsor, VitaFuel. They just dropped their new creatine. Builds muscle, ramps up strength, and sharpens mental focus. Works great for guys, girls, young or old. It's never too early or too late to get after a fitness routine. Head to vitafuel.com. Use Immortal10 for 10% off your first order. VitaFuel, VITAPHUEL.com, and hit subscribe on the Immortal Podcast. New episodes every week. Let's go.
So they
So
rerouted
then,
it.
yeah, so they rerouted the blood flow so that I can get it without having to worry about this, because we know this is, from what we know, there's no curable thing for it. So I still got the disease, still retarded or whatever you say, and we're just
But
hiking with it, I
can you
guess.
tell? I mean, could you tell a noticeable difference when after the procedure and you started healing? I mean, did you feel like you were saying that you were being diagnosed as like ADD or
Mhm.
can you tell now? Is there a noticeable difference?
I have a lot more control over my urges, and
Mm.
but I could put that on for me just being aware of who I am and then getting used to everything and just being like, dude, like shut the fuck up, do what you're supposed to do. So I mean, yes and no. It could be wisdom somehow seeping through, or it could be this surgery going, okay, we fixed them. But either way, I give it to God. There's no reason for me to try to figure out why I'm thinking better or doing better or progressing in any sort of way.
So I have a big question for you. And I'm sure a lot of people have asked you this too. What I mean, this is I mean, you like your profession is, it's fighting and taking shots to the head and this and that. Like, I mean, then you're like your doctors or, loved ones too must have, did they come to you and say, this is crazy that you're fighting, that you're
No.
going and you're continuing?
Yeah, they know me, and this is the problem. If I hate being told what to do, like it's deep down, it's just like if I'm gonna fuck up and I decided to do it like this, that's on me. But if I fuck up and you're the one that made me do this, oh, there's problems. So
Mhm.
for some reason, I've been diagnosed with obsessive defiant disorder, but so that was since I was a kid. I don't know if it goes away, but I can and I have to like talk myself through things, especially if Matt's teaching me. Like he was telling me to teep the other day, and in my head I'm like, drop kick him, drop kick him. And then I just had to talk myself into just doing what he said. But he knew it, I knew it, and I'm just like, okay, it's just do it. He's trying to help you out. And I have to try coach myself in order just to take like just decent help. So they know enough to where if they're like, hey dude, don't do this, I'll be like, just because of that, I hope I die doing this. Just because of that. So that's just the person I am. And they try to do their best, but I mean, trying to tell me what to do is just it's not good. I would not have been a good slave. Um, it wouldn't have worked out.
Wow, that's incredible. So that, but so the UFC, like when you go into fight, in your pro fights, they don't, so they clear you on this. You're cleared. I mean, obviously you fought in the
Yeah.
UFC.
Yeah,
Yeah,
UFC they do way more in-depth scans and stuff, than and part of it is commissions too, right? Like where'd you fight, man? I mean, a lot in Ohio for sure.
Minnesota, Kentucky.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. They never caught it on none of those other places that you fought either, though.
Oh, you mean before the brain surgery?
Yeah, well,
Mostly.
before the UFC, before that debut when you got it caught it out in Vegas. Because
It was,
had you never had that same scam before?
no. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was football, wrestling, track. That's all I did in high school. There's no reason to get a brain scan in high school and
Right.
and fighting. The only people that did a brain scan until after my surgery or until after they found this was UFC, and then afterwards now LFA requires it. Um, so it's like they're definitely progressing towards making it safer or at least trying to catch us sooner. But I mean, luckily
Well,
we made
usually
it out.
it's a commission thing. It's not the LFA or UFC.
Mhm.
But I thought that's kind of fascinating because I mean I don't remember when I first started fighting. I mean, my first few fights I didn't get any physicals whatsoever. I didn't have to go to the doctor and show that
Oof.
my heart beats. You know what I mean? They didn't
Yeah,
give a shit. There wasn't commissions or anything. It
that's
wasn't
sketchy.
regulated. But what's funny, man? Like over in Thailand, it's the same way. Like you could literally like people off the street go fight.
Mhm.
Uh,
Oh,
there's there's actual bars where you can sign up to fight, and if you win, you get like a tub of beer. You know what I mean? Like they don't give a shit, bro. Like there's actually been a little bit of a problem in the sense of some different diseases have been spreading over there. I think,
that's the only thing I'd care about.
yeah, yeah. I want to say herpes maybe, but pretty much everybody
I
has
bet
herpes in some way. But I think there's worse ones than that. It might be HIV. I'm not sure,
that would do it.
but they've had some issues that they've been talking about in the last few years because of that. But yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that that's not a normal thing. That commissions are making fighters do these days.
For the brain scans?
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna go into a professional fight, what kind of, a professional fight, right? Like the
This
the word
person,
professional is so
yeah.
fucking fucked up in this MMA landscape of
It's
today,
like
right? Like,
organic means
yeah,
nothing.
exactly, right. But they need to bring up the term semi-pro a lot more, I think, right? And until you're actually making a living doing this, and this is your only job, you're a semi-professional. You're not a fucking professional. A professional means like you're making a living off of this shit. If you go to like football, I mean, there's semi-pro football players, right?
Mhm.
I don't know why they don't do that in MMA, but if you're going in, like, you don't know who you're going to face in a professional fight. Like they bring, like, hell, you're fighting LFA. I mean, they brought this guy over from fucking Kazakhstan, like,
Yeah, Kyrgyzstan.
or Kyrgyzstan. Like, you don't know that this motherfucker might have been like Khabib's best friend. You know what I mean, or something. Like, you don't know, right? You'd think they'd want to be checking the brains, making sure like people are healthy to go in there and fight, but I guess not. So they need to take care of that.
That would be like less of a liability for them too, to be able to point it out. You know what I mean? I was like, oh,
Right. I mean, so,
going into
someone's gonna die doing this shit,
Probably.
right? I mean, it's guaranteed, right? I mean,
Nose goes, not me, so somebody else.
well, at some point, I mean, you can only, ride the lightning so long in this kind of a sport. I mean, how long has the UFC been going now?
fuck,
30
30
something.
years,
I mean, and they haven't
33
had
years.
one death. That's pretty fucking
Yeah.
impressive for
But-
as as violent as the sport is.
Especially like during the TRT era. Like it's amazing Vitor didn't fucking kill somebody.
Yeah.
Those guys were like punching each other in the balls and everything.
But once you, for the most part, once you get to the UFC, like, you're talking like high level versus high level. You know what I mean? I think the bigger issue is when you're in, say LFA or like a local Ohio fight or something, and you got this fucking killer with all the talent in the world. Like, somebody had to face Josiah, right? And this kid, he didn't know what he was even getting into. You know what I mean? He thinks he's a badass because he's like 2-0 or something, and fucking now he's fighting a guy, just a murderer. Like somebody fought John Jones before he got to the UFC, right?
Mhm.
Like, you imagine being that guy?
Poor. He might be dead, so he might have been the first one.
Yeah, that's what. I mean, I'm sure there's been deaths at the lower levels.
Mhm.
Boxing, there's deaths all the time. I mean, not all the time, but there's an average of, I think I read once, there's an average 11 deaths per year in boxing worldwide. So you got to think there's been some happening in the or not UFC, in MMA overall. Like, it certainly happens. I'm sure it's like brushed under the rug as much as they can, right? But
Well, and the sport's getting like more advanced. Like you guys are like the talent coming up, the athletes coming up. I mean, they're getting more and more. It's just like in any sport, like as these sports evolve, football, wrestling, MMA, these athletes are getting more. They're evolving. I mean, it's amazing to watch.
yeah, with that, again, like, the sport's evolving, and then you get a guy that, I mean, Joey, how many people do we see at the gym who want to be MMA fighters all the time? They have
Big
no
bugs, yeah.
business being in there
Yeah.
doing it, right? If they get to the wrong place, they got the wrong coach that just wants to put them in. I mean, like, my first coach, you would know who he is. I'm not going to say his name, but I mean, my third pro fight was against Pete Spratt. And back then we didn't have internet. I didn't know who he was. I'm 2-0, and I'm like thinking I'm a fucking baddest dude in town. And I went to the library to look him up, right? I was like, who is this motherfucker? They're sending me to Texas. I was like, man, who the fuck is this guy? Actually, Fort Worth, your neighboring town there, Roddy.
Yep.
And, I get on the internet, and dude, like, my fucking heart fucking started pounding, bro. Like, he had like 50 or 60 fights. He had kickboxing fights all over the world. He'd been in the UFC. I think he had like 13 or 14 UFC fights already. And I was like, dude, I just started training like last year. I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do? So I just went and started doing sprints, you know what I mean? And I was like, all right, here we go. Time to show.
Some Tarrant County Texan. It's like the worst spot to have to pick somebody from.
Yeah. The funny story about that is so it was Pete Spratt, Dwayne Ludwig, and Travis Lutter were like the main events of that card. I don't remember which one was the actual main event, but they were kind of like the guys to sell the card, right, that they're promoting. And they brought in 3 of us that were basically lambs fed to slaughter, right? And it was me and 2 other guys, right? Now I was brought there to be slaughtered by Pete Spratt. And my coach had to know this, right? I'm fucking 2-0. He's like 30 and 30 and 13, whatever he is. You know what I mean? He's got like 40 fights or 50 fights or some shit. But I get out there and I beat his fucking ass, bro. You know what I mean? I whooped him. And then they gave the fight to him like on a decision just because I didn't finish him. Like I had to finish him. But I don't even think Texas had a commission back then, as a matter of fact. But it was some complete bullshit. And like everybody in the crowd was like, dude, you won that fight. And I think, you know, I don't want to quote Pete Spratt. Maybe we'll get him on the podcast sometime. But I'm pretty sure he told me that I won too. Later at night when we were at the bar drinking. But
The only
yeah,
sport when you can do that.
What's that?
Only sport you can do that. Try to beat the shit out of each other, and then 2 hours later, like, hey, you want to get a drink?
Right. I think he just coincidentally ended up at the same bar. But yeah, I wasn't really trying to drink with him. But yeah, that's the you know, these people should be checked. Like I should not have been in there with that motherfucker, you know? I mean, I beat him, you know, it worked out, but like, you know, they gave him a decision, but I beat him. It worked out fine, but like, that's not fucking healthy, bro. Like he should have fucking wrecked me. He should have head kicked me into fucking oblivion.
What kind of notice did you have on that fight, Matt?
Oh, it was, you know, whatever, proper notice.
Proper notice.
Yeah, it was it wasn't like a short notice thing. I mean, I had like a full camp of, you know, trying to learn basic techniques that I didn't know yet.
Yeah.
You know, when I first started fighting, I mean, I was just a tough guy. You know what I mean? I didn't know shit. Like I didn't have coaches or hardly anything, you know? I mean, Dave was around back then, but I think Dave was like a purple belt. He might have been a brown belt. He's either a purple or a brown. I don't think he wasn't even teaching jiu-jitsu classes yet. Like he was the Muay Thai coach.
Now he stops doing Muay Thai because he has bad hips.
Which is funny to me because I don't do much jiu-jitsu because I got bad hips and back. I prefer doing Muay Thai, you know?
Just switch.
Yeah, it's weird, man. But anyway, back to you, Josiah. Enough about me.
I was into it.
So look, you get the short notice fight with Jack Della Maddalena. Let's go back to that. Find out you got the Moya. You get through the surgery. Now you got to figure out a way to get your fucking head right and get back to it. What's that process like?
Just getting back to it. I mean, the more you think about it, the worse it is. Yeah, it's just facing reality and going like, okay, cool, is this even possible? And you argue with yourself enough and you're going to convince yourself it's not possible. So then you just stop doing that. And that's where God comes in handy. You're like, cool, if it's not possible, then there's no point in me trying to argue myself out of it. He'll take it away from me. And the only thing I can do is just head in one direction. And if it's not meant for me, it's not meant for me. Everything else is just for the birds. So I just did what I can, whether it was hiking, whether it was lifting. I got back into lifting immediately as soon as I flew in. I tried to hit pads as soon as I flew in. 3 days after my surgery, I went on a hike. I don't even know if that's probably not smart. So I went on a hike with the family. So I met there's 3 or 4 random families that just let me stay with them because we just didn't end up raising enough money to be able to be out there. So I had luckily we got taken care of, but we had a lot of people.
This is out in California.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah. So we had a lot of people that were willing to just help us out along the journey. But I mean, medicals took that away pretty much everything that we saved up pretty much instantly. And it was.
Did you fly out there by yourself?
Yes.
No support system with you, anything, and so you hung out I think you had to hang out in the I don't know, the surgery place or the hospital or whatever it was. Did you have to stay there for a couple of days?
3 days.
3 days. What's that like? Because I know you don't like sitting around, and I know those motherfuckers ain't letting you move around.
So I flew out there by myself. My dad ended up coming for surgery after I woke up with him to my right side. I'm like, what are you doing here? No, he was there before surgery. Either way, I pretty much just told the lady, I was like, listen, you're either going to take these out so I can piss, or I'm going to take them out. And she was like, well, let me help you. And then she pulled my catheter out, and I didn't know I had that in there. And oh, and then I went and used the restroom. So from there, I was just giving them heart attacks. You're not supposed to be moving around right now. You can't be moving around. I'm like, listen, I feel fine. Little loopy off to the side. I still had fentanyl in my system or whatever they're getting me. It was definitely fentanyl, but a lot of other stuff. And I'm angry, I guess, just at the world. Listen, I am not peeing in that bucket. I'd rather die right here than pee in that bucket. They're like, you're doing it already. You just didn't know. I go, that's the problem. Now I know. I would get up to use the restroom. I would get up to take walks. I would have to ask. I had 2 night shift nurses. One was John, but I don't even think that was his real name. I just called him John. He was just like, yeah, that's my name. I go, okay, I'm gonna take it. But then by the end of the night, they're like, yeah, his name's not John. So he's John. I just don't remember his name. The other one was like Kathy or what was it? Something. And then she did not like me because she's always just trying to get me to sit down. I was like, I wish I could. You don't want me sitting down. So a lot of walks, a lot of moving around. They ended up moving me. I think it was a day. In the day, they moved me to a normal bed, and I spent 2 more nights there. The nurses and everything came by after the people that did the surgery. So they had a whole team of people that did the surgery on me. They came by and was asking me questions and talking to me, and I just pretty much was like, yep. So I'm not even sure what they said too much. Oh, how do you feel? Feel good. Are you okay? I'm great. You think you could leave? Yeah. Get me out of here.
That same day? The same day?
No, it took 3 days. So
Jesus.
No, if they would have let me, I would have left that bitch the same day. I do not be in hospitals are not for me.
Yeah. I mean, but they monitored you and did your scans again and all that stuff afterwards, just to make sure everything was taken correctly.
Yes. The weirdest thing though is they didn't give me like inflammatory or antibacterial medicine after I left the hospital, which ended up causing me, I don't know if it was that or me working out. One of those two ended up causing me 2 seizures. So I did a little dance party by myself. No music, no lights, just getting jiggy.
Was that the first time that you'd ever had a seizure?
That I know of, but I mean, at this point, the likelihood of me having it in my sleep is just so high that it's ridiculous not to think that I haven't had one. This is where it gets sketchy. So I have my first seizure. I was working out, running, hitting pads, and I just started feeling like funky. I'm like, this is not good. So then I'm starting to look at online of like what's going on. And they're like, well, it's either you just had a stroke or you're going on. But then I was just looking in. So I didn't know what it was. So I didn't know the first one was. And I kind of just went upstairs to go take a nap. I'm trying to read just because I didn't feel good at all. I didn't feel good. Like I was getting hot flashes, cold flashes, and like pretty much while I was just freaking out. And then eventually I'm reading this book, and I remember reading, and then as I'm reading, I started to have the seizure to the point where I was in the book. Like I was like in the book. And then I just remember like locking out, and to that point I tried to scream, nothing would work. You just can't. Nothing works. Your hands don't work.
Where were you at?
I was in my bed reading.
At home alone, like parents.
Jaden was there. Duffy was there. So I just blamed it on me not eating, because I was still trying to had like 1,200 calories in my system, maybe just keeping it low, trying to keep my weight low. So I was like, maybe I need fats. So that's what I convinced myself. So then I started eating fats. And then the next day I went golfing, and we're golfing, and on the 12th hole, I started getting hot flashes again. I'm like, I felt this before. And Sonny, my uncle, is with me. He starts walking up, and I'm like, as soon as I wanted to say, I think I'm about to have a seizure, I start locking out. My body starts locking out. Sonny's hitting it on hole 12 is what we were on, and he freaking beams it, or at least he tells me he beams it. I just staring at him. So then I'm looking at him, and he freaks out. He hits it. He freaks out. I'm pissed. I'm like, don't touch me. Just let me do whatever I'm doing. And his friends are holding me on this side. Again, just let me fall if I'm gonna fall. He comes up, put his arms around me as I'm rocking, and in my head, the only thing I'm caring about is, it's too late. Just let me do whatever I'm doing. It's just like, there's no point of you just trying to hold me. I don't want you to hold me. So I don't know what that was about. It's probably trauma again. And by the time I got back, they're like, yeah, that was 5 minutes. I was like, that's where it surprised me. I didn't think I was out that long. So
Mm.
there was basically just time sped up, and I don't know how long the first one was, but the second one was probably around 5 to 10 minutes.
But when you seizure, are you out of it? Like, are you unconscious? Are you aware what's going on and you just can't control your body?
Most people are. Yeah, most people are like most people like won't remember anything. I have a buddy that hit me up the other day. He had a bunch of them in a row, and I was talking to him, and he couldn't remember anything for like 3 days. So he
Mm.
just most people don't even just remember it, but it was very there for me. I'm like, well, something's about to happen. So instead of freaking out, I kind of just was like, don't bite my tongue, because I heard about people biting their tongue off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, don't flex everything, just relax as much as you can and let it ride. And at least I didn't flex out or anything. So I'm
Do you
just
have any idea why it happened or what that meant at the time or anything?
Yeah, when you pass that brain blood barrier
Yeah.
between the skull and the brain, your likelihood already for having seizures is going up. You do that, you add stress, you add so that stress can cause them. You add anything to deal with um, like my disease in general. So it's like that was probably the highest risk I could have
Yeah.
in general. I just wasn't aware, but there was inflammation in my so where they put the screws at with that halo. There's inflammation over here, and there's two screws in the back of my head where they are two inflammations for where they put screws in the back of my head that were just swelling up. But basically, just there's so much stress that like just couldn't handle it. I shouldn't have been working out. I shouldn't have been moving
Sure.
as much as I was. Yeah, so still
So
just
is that pretty much mitigated now? Like there's not really a chance of seizures again. I mean, I'm sure there's always a chance, but like
Mhm.
it's pretty low chance now, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would think so. I haven't had any, and I haven't had any problems, and I've definitely pushed myself harder than than
Sure.
than needed. But no, oh, that's what I was gonna say. So what's weird is going back and having them look at my brain scans or CT scans after I had my seizures. They're like, "Yeah, dude, you have no damage." And I'm like, "What? Really?" Like, I know for sure that I mean, you spend enough time having a seizure, like, they would expect some damage.
Yeah.
And then even after the, what's the name fight with Jacoby, they're like, "Yeah, dude, you have no damage." I'm like, "Really? None." I definitely was concussed. They're like, "Well," so they're going out and looking at these things, and I'm like, maybe I just can't get brain damage. I can definitely get fucked up, so that
Mm.
works. But I just brain damage wise, I'm like, oh well, maybe I have been having these my whole life and just happen to never get damaged from them, or maybe my body adapted and was able to do what it needs to do. But no, it's weird that I just didn't get any damage from having seizures, because eventually they'll show and be able to show over
Yeah.
time, and just my brain never has.
Yeah, those knockouts are funny, man, because like I've been knocked out once in my life and but I've had uh real concussions more than once. And not from being knocked out, you know. Like one fight when I fought Johnny Hendricks, like he slammed me in the first round and I was concussed the whole fight. Like my you know, my vision is blurry, like I'm seeing double, like the room's spinning the whole fight. And then you know, that lasted for you know, a few months until I finally went and seen somebody. You know, I remember like I would be sitting on my bed and try to get up like in the middle of the night to go pee or something, and you have this vertigo. Like I'd fall over, lose all my balance. I'd be talking to my kids, and this is what finally made me go to the doctor. Was I'd be talking to my kids, and in mid sentence, I would just stop and be like, "What the fuck were we just talking about?"
Mm.
And they're like, you know, my kids are, I think they were like 4 or 5 at the time. Yeah, so they're not even thinking anything of it. They're like, "You're funny, dad," right? And then, you know, I decided, okay, I gotta go see someone. But you know, and I was diagnosed with a proper concussion, right? But then, you know, I got knocked out by Cowboy, which was the only time I've been knocked out in my life. And like I woke up, you know, however long later, you know, I had a little bit of memory loss there for like, I don't really remember. The last thing I remember is his foot about 6 inches from my face. And I'm like, this ain't gonna be good. And then the next thing I remember is like being backstage, like, all right, good fight, bro. Um, but no lasting damage whatsoever, right? So it's like these concussions are funny how it works, man. Because you know, like when you lost the other week, a couple weeks ago, like it wasn't that long lasting damage. They say like just the resonation that fucks you up, right? The vibrations in the brain.
Mhm.
And so I'm glad to know that like that all turned out well, right? Because I think a lot of people, you know, I'm sure you read comments online. I don't know if you
Oh, they thought I was
if
dead.
you're good about staying away from that. Like
I'm
you know,
not. I'm a no. I'm like,
yeah,
what's up,
fair.
dude?
Yeah. You know, a lot of people are like, man, he has a brain damage. Like he shouldn't even be in there, and et cetera. And especially with Jacoby landing the extra shots after and all the bullshit. But you know, it is what it is. But we'll get to that in a minute, though, right?
Mhm.
Let's kind of follow the storyline here, right? Because it's pretty fascinating watching you get back. Because I remember you coming into the gym. You know, and I think it was right around the time we had first, you know, really started training together. You know, as kind of partners. You know, not just sparring and shit, right? And you're like, yeah, I had a seizure last week or some shit. I was like, well, are we supposed to be training right now? You're like, man, let's go, bro. I was like, all right, cool, let's go. So, like, what, you know, mentally, what was that? I know that's just who you are, right? You're
Mhm.
just like I'm gonna keep going. Nothing's gonna fucking stop me. But there had to been some like hesitation on the
Yeah.
inside, right? You had to have something be like, bro, I know that I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm gonna go fucking do it anyway. What was that internal narrative there?
That was, if I have another seizure, I'm probably not fighting again. So
Mm,
it was more of a like, is this worth? So I ended up taking another week off after the seizures. Not that it's smart, but I did what I could before I start going crazy, and I took the that week off. And as it's happening, they give you these seizure medicine. The seizure medicine that's supposed to last like 3 months, and problem is you're not supposed to drive with those.
mm,
So I was like, cool. It's either I start leaning myself off of these seizure medicines, this medication, or somehow my body gets used to needing these, and then I'm never able to get off of it again. So I'm like, okay, cool. If I'm taking these, I can never fight. So like, we might as well just see if I can get off of them. So I started leaning myself off of the seizure medicine. I was using the internet. I was like, yeah, you can just do it like that. So I just went, here's a pill, and then I went 3/4 of a pill, and I went a half a pill, and then I went a quarter of a pill, and then I just kept
mm,
to the point where it's like, okay, I can get dust in my mouth. I did what I was supposed to do. But I ended up taking that week off, slowly leaning myself off the seizure medicine. I think I had a checkup in like 2 weeks before, 2 weeks after I had my first workout back. So it was like they basically was like, "Hey, check in with us next month." By that next month, I was completely off of the medicine. And to answer your question, it is extremely difficult to try to chase something, not knowing if it's even like not even physically like, can my body even handle anything? Can it do anything? Because if I have another seizure, which that was the thing that was scary for me. I'm like, I don't want to have another seizure because I know for sure, even if my body can handle fighting, the doctors won't let like
yeah.
there's no way they're gonna let me come back. It's just not how it's not gonna work out that way. That was the scariest thing about it is just trying to stay on the line of like pushing to where I can learn, but not enough to where I'm like, okay, is this overdoing it? Because I remember we went to, what was it? Running with your guy Max Effort.
Dustin, yeah,
Yeah, and I had Jaden on my back. This is 2 weeks.
at the stairs.
Yes, and I stopped up there, and I think he was talking about like um, finish or something about like finishing strong, and I was like, I'm gonna finish, but I don't know if I can move right now without either passing out or having another seizure because I started getting the hot flashes again. And I'm like, I'm gonna finish. So then I went back down. But yeah, so I was going up the steps and slowing down. I think it was at the very last one. My legs were like on fire. And I'm just like, keep going. It's like, keep going. But luckily, we got it done and luckily everything was safe. But yeah, I was having another one of those moments where I'm like, this might be the last sprint I do. I might as well just go as hard as I can. He told me to go as hard as I can. So that's all I was thinking of. We had 10 sprints or something like that up these steps as hard as you can. And I'm watching everybody jog. I'm like, nobody's going as hard as they can. It's like, I'm just sprinting up. I can feel my legs burn. I'm like, cool. That's the first one I won. Go back down. Second one I won. And then by the time it was getting later, that's when people were starting to try last 5 or 6. I'm like, what's the point of that? I was just, I'm going to still sprint, but why wait until the last couple to try? Either way, so that was a scary moment for me. Practicing, other than that, I was kind of just monitoring, like if I felt off at any way, like I had snacks with me, I had my medicine with me, I had my bag full of all the things that Stanford gave me. So I was just trying to be as cognitive as possible with everything going on, but realistically, I'm an idiot and don't do as I do.
It's amazing, bro. I remember those stairs that day, actually, now that you mention it.
I don't remember how long it was after the surgery.
Do you think you're just pushing yourself like that because you're like, you know what, if something's going to happen, it's going to happen, and I want it to happen while I'm doing what I love to do, rather than just like walking down the street or, grocery shopping, you're just like, well, if I can push it here and I can push it to the maximum here on these stairs, let me just see how far I can take this. Well, nothing happened, and then you're just kind of pushing yourself to see. And then again, at that point, you're like, well, fuck it. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen here. And I'd rather it happen here.
Yeah. It was weird. So I ended up getting to a point where it's like, I don't like the feeling of anxiety. I don't like the feeling of like being anxious or like when things are going to happen. Mm-hmm. So I just came to it like a point in my head, like if I'm going to do this, I would rather die trying to do something than not. But the fact of me simply worrying about if I'm going to live or not is so mentally exhausting that I was just like, who cares? Like realistically, who cares if I live? And to be honest, I made a deal with myself. I was like, you know what's cooler than living? Dying from working out, because who does that? So if I'm going to push myself so hard that I die, I mean, that's in my head honorable. That's cool. If that's the way I'm supposed to go, if that's the way this world's going to work, like it's not going to change when I'm going to go. So like me trying to spin it in a way that made it comfortable. Realistically, I was just like, cool, Jesus, if I'm going to go, I'll see you soon. And then I just got so comfortable with dying. I really was just like, cool, I might die today. And you do that enough and you just get to a point where it's like, all right, just another day. But I really just got close to the fact that like I am going to die, and it might be today. It might be in the next 30 minutes. It might be me sleeping and having a seizure. And I'm like, cool. It's like, if it was going to happen, it's going to happen. But right now it's not.
And you want to live in fear. Basically you're saying, I'm not going to live my days. I'm not going to live in fear.
Yeah.
Not let fear take away,
And people say that stuff a lot.
Yeah.
But you lived it. That's what's amazing, right? People say that shit all the time, like I'm willing to die in here tonight or whatever, especially like when they're fighting, right? But you fucking lived it, man.
Mm-hmm. It's stressing me out now, even thinking about going back in those moments. But the thing is we have two options. We can either try to dance around the fact that I not damage goods, but like things could happen, and try to save whatever there is, and then go on a whole different world or a whole different journey of what life could be. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life going, did you try as hard as you could to chase something that you wanted to? Did you try as hard as you could to go in a direction that most would have already quit? Did you just give it your all? And I knew that I would have hated myself more for not giving it my all than me trying to be safe. So it was a lot of arguing with myself, but it was just like, it's not up to me. If I could do anything, if I can choose anything right now, so besides living or dying, what can I do? And right then and there, training was the only thing that kind of just kept me sane. So it was a weird balance of like, I need to move my body. I need fighting and training just in order to keep my mental good enough to where I'm not a menace to society. But also I needed to show and prove myself like, hey, if we're going to go, then go. If we're going to die, then us trying to worry about it does nothing other than cause us unnecessary stress. And realistically, the only thing I could do is just go, cool. I know what stress I'm dealing with. As long as other people don't have to deal with it, head in that direction. Just head forward. That's it.
It's fucking heavy shit, man. Because, like I said, a lot of people say shit. I've said that shit a million times. I'll die in this workout, whatever. But it's never been tested on me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I could say it all I want, but until it's tested, is it really true? And I like to believe that about myself, that it's true. But you lived it and you pushed through it. So that's heavy shit, man. It's real.
Yep.
It's not fun. Cardio got better though. So you
Hell
got
yeah,
some
dude.
bonuses.
That's a lesson for a lot of people that are listening. Like, you can't, fear is such a restraint on people's lives. I mean, it's paralyzing, and you have to walk through the fire of whatever your fear is, whether it's death, whether it's, it could be anything. Fear, you could have fear of anything, but it's paralyzing. It's a paralyzing thing. And then hearing somebody like you say, hey man, I was at, possibly, death's doorstep, but I didn't want to, I wasn't ready to open the door, and I wasn't and I wasn't willing to wait either. So, I walked through the fire, and that's what's admirable. And that's inspiring. I mean, for me to hear, for anybody to hear, is like this man, he towed the line and went in on it. And that's, if anything, through this
Makes
whole
us feel
thing.
like little pussies, right?
Fucking Matt, you fucking pussy.
No, I appreciate it.
So you get through that, all right. Then not too long, now you finally start getting back to heavy training, right? And man, how long was it before you finally booked your first fight back? Because
6 months after the surgery.
yeah,
Wow.
what would have? Okay, I'm sure the doctor said something, because I know you talked to him and you're like, "Yo, I want to fight next week, motherfuckers." Like what? And they're like, "Yo, you need to wait this long." What were they saying?
They pretty much, the only thing they could tell me is the bone that they took out of my head to put back on and put a steel plate on, that would not heal until 6 months. They don't know how long the brain would take to heal, but it's pretty quick. So they're pretty trustworthy with the grafts being on and not moving. So they're just like, look, you have a limitation. Most bones take 6 months at least to heal. Let's make sure those are good, and then we can see what happens.
Game on.
Yeah. Well, luckily, I won't say luckily. We didn't end up fighting because we were out in freaking New York, and they,
I remember that.
Yeah, they pretty much was like, yeah, you'll be able to. And then the day of, they're like, well, she didn't feel comfortable with you. I'm like, listen, it's not one. So the lady that was supposed to sign our physical, that's all she had to do. Sign a physical. She's a doctor, apparently smarter than the smartest, or the dude that did my brain surgery. But she was like, I just don't feel safe. I don't feel like this is safe. I go, ladies, this is not up to decide like if it's safe or not. Like, the sport I'm in is not safe. You don't get to just go, I don't feel like this is right. It's like, it's not up to you. We have our sign off. We have this, we have that. And she just didn't care. I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. And we talked to LFA about it, and eventually they're like, well, until we know for sure if you're able to fight, we'll hold off. And then we end up getting to the How Combat League stuff, and eventually found our way back to LFA.
Yeah, the local fight scene here, the OSCL. Yeah. So how long was that? That was 6 months until you booked the fight?
So that was
because you booked the one in New York in 6 months, right? And then it took, how long was it till you got into the freaking cage, is what I'm getting at.
So January 28 or February 28, 21st, something like that, is when we had our brain surgery. We came back. We did not fight until January. So a year.
Almost a year.
Yeah.
That's insane. I mean,
What'd that feel like? What it feel like at first? Because you finally taken the walk, but
Yeah.
you went through the New York shit. You had the seizures. You dealt with all the bullshit. You had the surgery. I mean, how long it been? What, 2 years since you'd fought? Maybe a year and a half since you'd fought last.
2023.
Yeah, 23. Now you're coming back, and you got you know, you get your brain is hopefully fixed up. You're accepting of life and death. And what does it feel like making that fucking walk finally?
I was just taking it in again. It was just, I remember so the walkout was Second Chance by Shinedown, and it's just taking it in, enjoying it. It was fighting either Quentin Parks or Quincy Parks, 6'4", 6'5". He's tall. So then just going in there, and I remember I knew he was tall and he had a long reach because he threw a hook, and I'm like, I went to like evade and it like hit me, and I'm like, you're way too long. Way too long, because usually I'm pretty good at like distance management, and he didn't he didn't hit me clean, but it was enough to where I'm like, okay, well, I thought I was at a range, and I ended up finishing him in the first, somewhere in the first, shot a double, and then end up.
But was there no internal narrative like
Yes,
what
there's
the fuck
always
am I
a
doing?
internal narrative. This,
Like,
I mean,
are you going? What the fuck am I doing? What is this a good idea? You know, am I going to die tonight? Like, you know, what's going through your head there on the walk?
So we have to go back a little bit. I refuse to question myself. I refuse to question whether I deserve love or whether I deserve anything I'm getting. I refuse to ask myself, am I good enough? Like, those are things for other people. I'm not here to try to please everybody, not anymore. I'm not here to try to prove myself to anybody. I'm not like that. That's just stuff I refuse to even talk to myself about, because I'm the only person that hasn't left me. I'm the only person that's been like, cool, we are here since day one. I'm not going to be the one that's like, well, back out now. Like, you don't believe in ourselves. So I refuse to just even try to think of those things. The moment I think of those things, I literally will just go, is this not something you want to do? Is that the road we're going down? And I get mad at myself. So it's just like, even the aspect of me questioning myself, I'm like, okay, well then we might as well just not do this shit if we're gonna think about the negatives. Like, obviously there are things that can happen, but I'm like, cool. If you don't believe in yourself, then don't go down this path. There's no reason to get into a fight or something if you don't believe you can win. So the negativity, I don't deal with too much. I don't deal with too well, I'll say. But you'll get those thoughts going in, and honestly, it's just a lot of saying fuck it. So it just got to a point where I'm like, it's not up to me. It's not up to me. If anytime I get those questions, I answer it with either anger at myself, or two, I answer it with just, it's not up to me. It's not up to me to try to figure this out. It's not up to me to try to get everything or all the answers right now. It's just, we'll find out.
Well, it had to have felt good to walk out of there with a victory with your hand raised, right? And finally get through all that.
Yeah, no, I didn't like it. It was, I mean, I don't care to win or lose. I know people are like, oh, I bet you care to win. I never care to, I want to get better. I
Sure,
want you to get better. And that's weird, but it's just like, I've felt like I know what it feels like to hear your mom say she didn't want you. I know what it feels like to have a dad that wasn't there for you. So like, I know what it feels like to be like, cool, who cares about the winning, losing? Like, where are we going? Am I going to be somebody that's impactful? Am I myself going to be able to be in a position to help my kids and not have to worry about them wondering if their dad cares about them, or if their family, or if I'm there for them or not? It's like that's the person I'm headed towards. So it's like, anything I do is realistically for a family I don't even have, which is weird. That's probably chaotic. And then it's just making sure like my values and everything I do line up with that person, because everything else just doesn't even ring any bells for me. So if it's not about growing towards that person, who cares? At the end of the day, in 20 years, nobody's going to care about wins or losses. I'm going to ask myself in 20 years, did you push yourself? And if I say no, that regret's going to tear me alive more than pushing myself or not pushing myself and being undefeated. Like, that shit doesn't matter to me. So it's just more about, what man do you want to become? Aim towards that. Anything else, you're just you're cutting yourself short.
Yeah, it's a great outlook, man. It's very wise for your age and experience too. You know, I think I didn't come to a lot of those realizations until way later. So, you know, respect for that. But yeah, so then finally, Yep. I remember when you came in, maybe it was after that fight or before that fight, and you're like, dude, I just want to fight every fucking month.
Yeah,
Just,
if I was
just
able
give me
to.
as many fights as you can. It's so fucking rare to hear that from pro fighters these days, man. These guys are just like, they're trying to pick and choose, and they're trying to, like, build their brand, and like, what I mean? It's like everything except for just let's go fight, motherfucker.
Yeah.
How much control of that do you guys have? Like, I mean, for
It's hard to
example,
find fights.
well, that's what I
Not
mean.
hard, but
But if you're in the UFC, right? So you sign your contract with the UFC, isn't it pretty much, up to them when you're fighting? And then outside of the UFC and the smaller, brands, I mean, are they able to, like, Josiah's going in and they're saying, hey, but yeah, you could fight once a month. Let's do it.
They're trying.
Well, yeah, there's like, there's different commission things too, right? If you were to get stopped, you're going to get a 30-day suspension, right? There's sometimes you don't even get stopped. Maybe you get rocked a lot. Like a doctor can just decide to give you a 30-day suspension. I've had that a couple of times, where I won the fight, but they're like, bro, you got, yeah, you have to take a break. We're not letting you fight again for a minute. But then there's, the UFC, man, like, they control everything, bro. When it comes down to you fighting, I think, I don't know if they've changed the contract since, but my contract, like, they would have to offer you a fight once every 6 months, but that's it. But they decide everything, and that's the
But with that
game we
said,
play.
But with that said, like, okay, so you have your contract and you get a fight every 6 months. I mean, and you're talking about, like, when you were talking about pro versus, like, semi-pro, like, when you're trying to build a life, a family, and support all that, I mean, does your contract say, okay, every 6 months and you're getting this, or are you on a payroll, a base payroll, or anything? Is it just
Yeah, they
fights?
set. I mean, you sign a contract for a certain amount, and it'll go up after every win a certain amount, based off of different things. But I mean, most people debuting in the UFC, they're getting anywhere from like 10 to 15 to 15. So if you fight once a year, you might net like fucking 20K.
Yeah, I mean, that's like,
You know what I mean?
I mean, that's like
If
great.
you
The
fight 3
UFC,
times a
you're
year,
gonna
you
get
might
20
net like,
grand.
yeah,
Still
you
got to
might
pay
net like
taxes.
60 or 70K in the Super Bowl of martial arts. And, we could get into, for another time,
Yeah.
right? Like, at some point, like, I want to bring on, it's funny. I do want to bring on, like, some of these guys that are way more involved with the lawsuits and stuff with the antitrust, and really do a deep dive into that, where, there are people specifically right now with this Ali Revival Act thing that's in boxing. And I have a lot to say about that. But I was going to bring in guys on both sides, right? Someone, maybe even have like a debate on here where, there are two sides to that argument. But again, I'm getting a little bit off base here. The fact is, like, the UFC has the monopoly. It's been proven in court. They settled a lawsuit saying that we have a monopoly and accepting that, and they know they have a monopoly, and that's what you want to do as a business. The problem is they run it as a business. They're not running it like, for instance, like how boxers run it. It's not really like a business. It is. It's still, they're there to make money and do prize fighting, but it's not, especially since they've been bought out by Endeavor and TKO. Right now, the business is beholden to the shareholders and the investors. And as you know, you can't run a business like that. That's why we're getting, a White House card that's kind of, I don't know if I say junk, but it's not a 10 out of 10 card, right?
Standout card.
That's why we're getting constant fights all the time on Paramount that are, main event to try to bring some people in, but most of the fights are just average fights, right? That's why we're not getting that's why Ronda's not fighting with Gina Carano in the UFC. That's why Conor isn't coming back to the UFC. I've said a million times, Conor's never fighting again. He may fight outside the UFC at some point. I highly doubt it, but he's never fighting again in the UFC. I put my bank account on that. That's why we're not getting, like we used to have like a Brock Lesnar in there. You know what I mean? All this kind of cool shit that happened. But we could go on and on about that. you know, the business itself is not a good business, and it takes a special type of person to overlook that. And you know, like for instance, Josiah is the type of person where I'm like, look, bro, you should pursue this shit, try to be a champion, and fucking, you know, make a life doing this. 99% of people that want to be professional fighters, I'm like, dude, you're wasting your fucking time.
Mhm.
If you take that same, I could look at my own story, and if I took the same sacrifice, dedication, energy, um, commitment, you know, missed birthdays, missed Christmases, that, you know, all this shit, and I started out 20 years ago as a cashier at McDonald's, I'd be the fucking CEO right now, making $1 million a year. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you want to waste your time, like risking your brain, you know, if you don't have the actual potential of being a champion, and and if you don't have that kind of drive like a Josiah has, you know what I mean? And you don't have that kind of athletic ability and the potential to do great things, and and lastly the intelligence to be able to do other things with that. And you know, that goes again, that's a long conversation there.
Yeah.
I don't mean to get too far off course here, because you know, we still got a lot to talk about with Josiah here, and we're probably boring him with all the business stuff. I don't, I know that's not, it's not what he came on to talk about, but you know, in terms of the money, yeah, I think that was the original question, right? You're talking about, you know, the UFC, you know, what kind of money you're gonna make and what are they offering? Like, they don't really have to give you shit, even if they, even though it's like every 6 months. I don't know if they still have that in the contracts. That was in our contracts. Like, they still don't really have to offer you like a good deal at that time. And a lot of guys, that's why sometimes you'll see big mismatches in the UFC, right? Because sometimes the guy just said the wrong shit to the UFC, and they're like, all right, bro, we're feeding you to the wolves now.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And I know this for a fact. Like I was the wolf sometimes. They fed guys too. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I know that, like, I know, like, behind the scenes reasons why this happened. You know, and they tried to feed me to the wolves at some point, I'm sure.
Mhm.
But it's like, that's why, you know, again, if you want to do this, like, you better be a fucking wolf. You know what I'm saying? Like, you better be that
You don't want
motherfucker.
you don't want the alternative.
No, that's what I'm saying. And look, 99% of people aren't that guy. And that's why I would tell most people, like, look, you don't need to be pursuing this, bro.
Mhm.
Like, go to college, man. Go get a fucking degree. Do something else.
It's getting even worse when the rankings are controlled and they don't even follow the rankings anymore. It's like Armin should have been had a title
Mhm.
fight. Um, it's they're making BMF fights that are like cool. They're doing all these things. Like, they need to add more weight classes. I feel like if they added a 65, 75, 85,
I agree.
that's fine. You can go there. You can even go 225, then heavyweight, and make the heavyweight just crazy big. But it's, I mean, they have plenty of opportunity. The biggest thing is
Mhm.
it's based off of their idea, and they don't really care too much about anything other than making money. And they're like, no, let's just do it because it's working. They don't really care about evolving because they don't need to, and nothing
Well,
like
you know,
nothing else.
there's no other sport on this planet where a promoter, um, or not necessarily a promoter, but a promoter can have an exclusive contract with their athletes,
Mhm,
right? Like, if you're in tennis and you go to Wimbledon, like, they can't say you can only compete with Wimbledon, right? If you go with if you sign for the Jaguars, they can't say you can only compete with us, right? There's like trade, you know, there's a million things that can happen. Um, UFC is the only organization that can do that on the planet in professional sports.
mhm,
Now there's obviously, like, there's contracts like you sign with the Jaguars for a year, right, or 2 years, whatever. But there's no other sport that can do that. So they get you under the contract, which in a lot of people would consider a coercive contract, you know. But that's I think that's a little bit of a vague term. Which, again, when we have one of the higher level people on here, I'd like to, you know, ask them about that. Like, let's define that term a little bit. What's coercive and what's not? But you know, having that exclusivity, and then they control the titles. They control who gets the title shot, and they control who's actually being ranked. And now at this point, they're also controlling the media. So they're controlling who's even asking the questions, right? And the publicity that's getting out there. So when you say it's a monopoly, like it's a fucking monopoly,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not like a little bit. Like them motherfuckers got the control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they even control the media. Like if the media that goes in there, the people that talk or ask questions, I mean, they pretty much control everything that's surrounded it. They're trying to go into the BJJ portion and take those people on because they don't need to spread out on the MMA side. They're trying to take boxing now, and they're giving that guy 15 million or whatever and act like nobody else is going to give a shit is crazy.
But even then, I was like, yeah, everybody's going to give a shit. Nothing's going to happen. I can promise you.
Because what are they going to do?
Yeah, it was exactly. It's a monopoly. It's the exact same shit. I remember this exact sort of narrative with all the fighters when the Reebok deal came in. There was people like Misha Tate was one of the best examples. She was getting over $100K per fight for her sponsors, and then she comes in to the Reebok deal, and she's getting like 10 or 15, maybe even less than that, because it's like a tiered, it's this whatever system, and like everybody talks shit about, it's like, this is fucking bullshit. 6 months later, like you ain't heard a word about it. Like you don't even hear about it now, right? Like no one even mentions it.
Well, that's fucked up. That is fucked up because they cut your income, like you've got these legit sponsorships that are like giving you a lifestyle. And then you have one big sponsor come in and they say, oh, this is what you're going to make now. Sorry.
Yeah. But increase their bottom line.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It's, like, it's not about you. It's about us. Thank you. That's not right.
But it's cool. Someone coming up like Josiah understands that shit. And again, he knows like there's nothing you could do about it. Like if you want to chase this dream, this is the system that you're going to be in. And this is why I tell people, most of them, like, don't chase this fucking dream, bro. Like do something else. But if you want to chase this dream, you better be a goddamn lion and you better fucking have championship potential.
I think, a lot of this comes down to as well, like if you're getting into this game, and if I was going to say something to anybody, I'm a businessman, and it's when you go into this and you're solely relying on just the income, let's just say of the UFC or whatnot, you've got to rely on your brand. You've got to build your brand, and you can build your brand outside of the UFC. For sure, you get paid on what they're going to pay you. But like even today with what I do, I don't put my eggs all in one basket. And that's something I learned a long time ago. And I learned the hard way that if you're relying on one stream of income, at any moment, that stream can be unplugged and then you're fucked. Unless you've got, the savings, I'm an entrepreneur. So like I put my money and I spread it. But as a fighter coming up, and you've got to brand yourself. And there's plenty of opportunities outside of the UFC to, if you're a successful fighter in the UFC, to make good money or align yourself with people that will help you to brand yourself, build your brand, help you put your money in places where it needs to be at. I think that's a big problem with a lot of these guys in any sport is they get all this money at a young age and then they don't know how to invest it. It's just like, like when you're getting millions of dollars in the NFL on these signed contracts, I mean, shit, dude, I can't even imagine what I would have done when I was like 21 or 22.
Right.
You sign like a $40 million contract. Jesus, that's just, you're just not capable of managing that at that age, unless you're
now. I'll give a little bit of pushback on that. I agree with most of what you said, but when you are a UFC fighter and you're chasing championship goals, you cannot spread anything out at all. Like you have to be all the fuck in. You can't think about it. But like you said, aligning yourself with good people that can help with that, I think is important.
Yeah.
But and that's the only way you can do it, right? But if you are not 100% in, guess what? The guy that you're fighting, he is.
Mm-hmm.
You fight some Dagestanian that doesn't have anything else going on, never heard the word investing in his life because he's fucking, he grew up on, his own land and fucking, goats and goat milk and shit. And he's like, bro, I don't give a fuck. I'm here to kill motherfuckers. That's it. Like, you better be all the fuck in. You start thinking, and I think a lot of people make that mistake where they get too caught up in their own brands. I think like Sean O'Malley's a good example. Like, I think he has like he had championship potential. And, he's done some great things, like with some favorable matchups and, like Peter Yan beat him, things like this. But I get the feeling that he's kind of like, um, expanded himself a little too much, over, I don't know the word I'm looking for. He, spread himself out a little bit too thin. You know what I mean? He's not 1,000% focused anymore. And that's where, that shit can eat you alive, man.
But
Like real quick.
To your point, I agree with everything that you're saying. Like, especially during fight time, and especially in this sport, you have to be like elite. You have to be elite. So, but and you have to be off the grid. You have to be off the grid. Like when it's fight time and you're in your fight camp, you've got to be off the grid, like 100%. But in the meantime, like when you're not, like when it's that time off, that's what I'm talking about. You've got to like invest in it. I mean, because what's the point? Unless you're just like a mountain man and you live in a cave and you're just like, fuck it, I'm doing this because I love the sport. And you've got no other responsibilities except for yourself. But if you want to have a family, if you want to, and then you want to have something after, the sport, you've got to, you really have to look into having the right people. You've got to have the right team. It's just like your fight camp, but it's not your fight camp. It's your financial camp. That's going to take.
So I like that we're having this little debate here with a young up and coming future champ here. It's pretty cool because again, I totally get where you come from. And like, I could look back on myself and wish that like I had been more business minded with things. And I wish that I had put more time and energy into my brand and into, saving money and, not blowing it on girls and, stupid shit. But at the same time, I wasn't able to be a champion. I wasn't good enough to be a champion. And I believe that if, again, the people that need to go all in and forget about all that other shit. I mean, obviously, like, hire a fucking financial advisor, put your money in the fucking stock market, watch it grow. Like, don't, don't be like me and spend it on new motorcycles and new guitars and shit, right? Like, put it, in a decent place. But when you're in there, like, this is why I said, like, the only people that I think should be pursuing this are people that have championship potential.
Mm-hmm.
You have to put every fucking egg in that basket and not even think twice about it, even during the off season. Like, there's no such thing as an off season in this game. You fucking train 24/7, 365. It's a short window that we have here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm 45, man, and I thought I was going to be fighting until I was 60 or something. You know what I mean? And I can't do it now, though. I wish I could, but I can't. And my body cannot take this punishment no more. That window closes way faster than you think. And you got to milk that motherfucker. And you, just like I was talking about the other day, like, you have to love competing so much that that's all you want to do anyway. And if you love it that much, but your mind is actually on, like, how do I make more money, or how do I, do this? It's like, well, what do you love? Do you love making money, or do you love competing? And now the flip side of that, that's what the UFC wants, right? They want the motherfucker that's like, I don't care about money. I'll fight for free, right? That was me. So, I think there's a balance, right? You got to have some fucking sense and be like, and Gano's like one of the smartest guys out there, right? Like, he went and made however many millions of dollars versus like, I just want to be the baddest dude in the world, right? And didn't let his ego get to him, which I think the UFC does, right? That they'll pump your ego and make you feel like you're the coolest guy ever. And, I think a lot of these guys get comfortable with that. They're living this lifestyle. There's like, girls are loving them, and, they're on, have a fucking podcast, or, their social media is blowing up, and, everybody's looking up to them and sucking their dicks. and they forget about the money. Right? They're like, dude, they're missing out on millions of dollars because their ego is so fired up from the lifestyle that they're living.
Sure. I mean, sure. It's lavish, man. Like when people I've been out with you every time I go out with, Matt, and when I'm in town or whatever, everybody knows you. I mean, it's just like I'm out with a celebrity. They all they're like walking up to the table, wanting pictures. I mean, that's a cool thing. It's a cool thing to have. I just think it's sad though, when you look down the road at some of these guys, from, earlier days of the UFC, that like they don't
Oh
have
God,
anything.
dude,
They
it's
don't have
terrible,
anything.
man.
They're fucking broke down, don't have any fucking money. They don't have anything for medical, like if they do need something done. And they built the fucking brand. They built the brand. The reason why the brand's there is because they took all those fucking nut shots and fucking hair pulling and all that fucking medieval shit, dude. And these guys are broken down and don't have a pot to fucking piss in. And that's just kind of where I come off on it. Like in just as an outsider looking in on it, I'd like to see, the guys that we love to watch compete just be taken care of, even if they're not top tier, just getting in that ring like Josiah did and going at it with the best of the best. I mean, that's a fucking impressive thing. And you want to see somebody like him, not just win in the ring. I want to see him win outside of the ring in life. That's if you love the sport, you love watching and you want your athletes that you're watching, or all of them that are under that brand.
Well, that's a cool thing about Josiah too, that I've got to learn about him. I mean, as avid of a competitor as he is, and as good of a fighter as he is, he's got a good head on his shoulders, and he thinks about shit like that, right? Like, I mean, you've talked about starting a family. I remember you telling me one time. I don't remember the exact way you put it. So correct me if I'm wrong here, but you're like, I just want to make enough money to fucking go to college and get some fucking science degree or some shit like that.
Yeah. I mean, to go back on your guys' points, one, I don't think that if you're chasing this for anything other than you getting some sort of your own click pleasure, your own thing out of it, you're in the wrong thing. You're not gonna get the most money doing this. You're not gonna get the most prestige doing this. So if it's anything other than you just want to see, in my mind, like where you're capable or how good you're gonna be, like if it's nothing to do with competition, if it's nothing to do with wanting to be the best fighter or trying to make a legacy, it's just to the point where you're literally damaging your brain, the most important part of your body, for change. And if I didn't care about this, this is where people I won't say forget, but they kind of gloss over. Fighting will change you. It will change you. Martial arts will change you. It will make you a better person. It'll make you a better man. It'll make you think about things that you originally weren't thinking about. The more disciplined you are, the more potential you can get out of yourself. Other than that, fighting is very dangerous. It is very dangerous. So if you do not get hooked on that potential version of you, of how good that can be, or what you're capable of, or the legacy, like if you're there for fame, if you're there for money, like you're going to dry up. You're going to hit a wall. You're going to get to a place to where you're like, is this enough money, or is this enough fame? And the answer is we're greedy ass people. Human beings will be greedy to the day we die. Eventually, you're going to say it's not enough. And when that paycheck isn't going to be what you think it needs to be, or isn't going to look at you the same, you're going to ask for more money, and they're going to tell you, fuck off, we don't need you. And you're going to realize how important you are. We're not important. And for me, that doesn't change none. I didn't really care about myself much anyways. I just happened to start liking myself more and more. But it's like it doesn't change. I mean, realistically, we're a number. We're a number, and we're able to give them money, and people pay to watch us get hurt. And the UFC is like, cool, as long as people are willing to pay, we're willing to put you in a job. Other than that, do your thing. And I think it's up to us as fighters to really, you just got to be ahead of time. If you're not smart enough to take social media and make your own brand, you probably shouldn't be fighting anyways. If you're not smart enough to make sure you're debt free before you start investing, or before you start dropping thousands of dollars at the bar, then you're an idiot anyways. So it's just, you got to get to a point where you're like, okay, stop
Call
thinking.
me an idiot. I feel attacked.
You were probably just thinking with your dick. So I mean, that's different. You're not even thinking with the wrong organ.
A cool guitar collection.
Yeah. But no, I mean, but you're not. I don't even know if you're debt free. But the goal is like where are you headed? For me, you already have your family. You can take care of your family. You don't have to worry about anything else. So therefore, you can spend money on yourself. For me, I'm like, oh, I can spend money on myself because I don't have a family. But for those that are in this and they have a family and they have other obligations to it, it's just like, that's just making everything so much harder. And this is the shitty part. Oh, you have a daughter that you have to go to her birthday? I don't have anybody. I don't have Christmas I got to go to. I don't got a birthday party. I'm not even going to my birthday party. It's like, that's just how it is. And I'm okay with that. And some people aren't, some people are, and some people call it sacrifices. I'm like, no, I mean, I really didn't care about my birthday anyways. Let's move on. Let's get better. Let's head in a direction. But I mean, that's the reality of it. If you're not willing to do that stuff, and if giving up that stuff isn't easy, then don't do it. It's like there's no point of trying to convince yourself that you're miserable or you're doing the wrong thing or the right thing if you don't believe it's right. At this point, my life is easy. It's easy because I'm doing everything I love. I get to train in a couple hours. I'm gonna go, or not even, probably like 20 minutes. I got to go teach somebody, and then I'll be at the gym with Matt because of what kickboxing team's coming up. Whoever's coming up, I don't remember them, but from 5:30 they're coming up. They texted me.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Oh, okay, so yeah, well, there you go. So they're coming up.
Well, ultimately, kind of on your point there's multiple paths to take here also. So there is like the Sean O'Malley path, right, where he had a good social media brand before he even got in the UFC, right? 14-year-old kids were watching him on Twitch or whatever before he was even in the UFC. Right, that's a path you could take, right, and it did a lot for him. Again, he got favorable matchups. You know, he's made a decent amount of money. You know, we can't forget it is prize fighting, right? There's another path too, though. There's the GSP style path, where like he was never like big on social media. He never did anything to promote himself. Really, he was a respectful, honest person. You know, did all the right things, but he went in and fucking won, and won a lot. And people love what people like more than anything is a winner, right? Like if you don't even have a social media and you don't say a word and you don't do anything cool, like Islam's kind of like that, right? Like he's not a big talker. He's not a big, he's certainly not talking any shit. I mean, he's not going to take your shit either. He's going to respond, but they go in and fucking win, right? So I think there is like multiple ways. Those are two of the most famous fighters in the UFC also. Right. And then there's also the Conor McGregor, which those guys will never be able to get to that path. Right. Because, Conor's a special person, but, his brand, I don't even think he was a great fighter, so to speak. I mean, very, very good. But, in terms of greatness, like I don't see it. But he's by far the most popular fighter in history.
Yeah.
Like by a large margin. Right. So there's
he's likable. He's just that funny guy that's saying what everybody wants to hear, or making the comments that are just his timing, everything. I mean, he's that guy. And then he had some good wins. I mean, this guy's just like he's a likable. And just those fighters that you're mentioning, they were all really likable people. Like when you watch them in their interviews, they're just like, oh yeah, I want this guy to win. I want him to win in life. That's my perspective on it.
Yeah, everybody's like, well, I mean, I'll say everybody, but everybody can find their own path in whatever they do. Good news about the Connors, he created a whole different archetype of people that were coming in, and it's slowly starting to get more and more like WWE. So he was the first one to be the heel, and whenever it came into combat sports, that was new. So he was able to take that and run with it. And on top of that, he had great fights. He had great knockouts. Him knocking out Jose Aldo in 13 seconds is insane. But we can't forget how active he was. I mean, that's the thing, is that especially in the beginning, he was fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting. And as he made more money, he slowly started to get away from fighting. But I think that's all the secret is the more people see you compete, just like is it Chimaev? Not Chimaev, who's boop, 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 pop, boop, boop. What's his name?
Warrior?
No. Ilya, no. He's 205 now, about to go to heavyweight. About to fight Khan. Pereira. Okay. Pereira, Izzy, those guys got big. Okay. Obviously because they're good, but how active they're fighting. I think Peloton took like 3 or 4 short notice fights, and people were like, we love this guy. We love this guy. So I think it's just the more active you are, the more likely you are to get in a higher place. And then obviously if you have some sort of gift of the mouth, or if you're able to be charismatic in any certain way, or even able to show your personality in any sort of way, you're gonna have 5 people that hook to that. But yeah, I think biggest thing about Connor is he was just the first one that was able to be that heel, and everybody was like, wow, he really just said that. Okay, well, I love this guy.
Yeah, and he had like some great luck too, right? When
Yeah.
what was I mean, the Jose Aldo fight. I think I don't know. I'm not gonna like try to put Connor down at all, but like I feel like um, Jose is better than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He should not have been knocked out in 13 seconds.
Yeah.
I don't know if he beats Connor or not, but 13 seconds, it just doesn't happen to Jose Aldo.
Mhm.
But you know, I think Connor did get in his head. But then him doing they showed the locker room footage of him practicing that combo, and then he goes and hits it. And I was like, you know, but the fact is, like, well, Joey, you're a southpaw. Like, that's a standard
Yes.
southpaw combo that every southpaw practices. But then, you know, the UFC and Connor, you know, the brand and everything, they blow that up. He's Mystic Mac.
Mystic Mac.
Now he looks magical. Like, oh, he's so good. He fucking knows what he's about to do to you, right?
Mhm.
Like only Gordon Ryan can do that shit. But you know, and then you know, he's never defended a title, whatever. You know, again, I don't want to put him down, but to me, he's not as great as I think a lot of people think that he is.
It's good at making money.
Really good at making money. No hate, man. Like, you know, he's got a hell of a lot more money than I do. So I can't, you know, I'm not putting him down one bit. But again, it's just when we're talking about the difference between, I mean, yeah, I think to your point, you had a great point was, you know, those guys the Pereiras that don't really talk shit and build their brand that way by winning, like they're actively winning. They're not coming in once a year and fucking somebody up and going home.
It's not the way to do it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a great point because in this day and age, like you're forgotten in a month
Immediately.
quickly.
They can make you forgotten.
Yeah, they control everything. Yeah.
I mean, they could literally just say, okay, you're a big name and you want to fight against the machine, bye. And then they literally just build another brand underneath it. They'll find the next big star, put the light on that star, and everybody will forget about whoever was, you know, trying to rage against the machine. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the biggest issue with fighters and why, like, again, fighters are never going to all come together and do a union, which is illegal to have a union anyway. But, you know, there's, we've talked a million times, or the internet has talked a million times about collective bargaining, union type stuff. And it's like, dude, you got 500 guys that are contracted to beat each other up and they're supposed to come together. Right. But, and it's also, it's prize fighting. And I think that's just what a lot of people forget. Like you're supposed to be fighting for the prize. And but the fact is we're disposable in the UFC because there's 100 guys out there that'll fight for no prize.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
1,000, 1,000,000. I don't know. Like, you know,
there's a lot.
Goes on and on. Like they don't need a prize. The prize to them is getting their ego boosted and feeling good for, you know, putting that UFC, you know, in their Instagram bio.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's not something that is going to be fixed any way easy. And this is why I've said a million times. Sorry, I've said it a million times. Like the only fix to this is going to be legislation. Like fighters aren't going to come together and fix this. Managers are certainly not going to come together and fix this. They're working for the UFC.
Yeah.
But legislation, because a promoter should not be allowed to put you into an exclusive coercive contract and be the promoter while controlling title and rank.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what the Ollie Act is, almost to the letter in boxing. That's what the Ollie Act is there to prevent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not happening. And that was my whole issue with it being this Ollie Revival Act being done in boxing, because in 2017, I believe 2019 also, the MMAFA tried to get it, Ollie Act passed in MMA, and it got shut down in Congress. Now if they get this Revival Act through, which they will, now we can't even try to get the Ollie Act into MMA, right? Because then it would work perfectly fine for the UFC. So we'd be completely fucked. We'd have to completely redo the legislation, and that's a extremely uphill battle. So that's my TED Talk rant of the
I don't know
problems.
anything about it, so they just tell me to fight.
That's important stuff, though.
Yeah, that's what I said. You know, I did want to get more into Josiah's story, though. I mean, especially the comeback to the UFC, and you had your first fight a few weeks ago. And I guess we'll kind of end on that, right? Because we're kind of been going for a while. You said you had to run and do some classes or teaching or something.
Yeah, I got privates, and then I'll be at your gym. I'll be at Immortal.
No, okay, cool. I'll see you up there. So what was it like? Okay, let's just finish it off then. Like, what was it like finally getting to the UFC, making that walk, fight week, finally standing in there? And, this is for a lot of people. I mean, this is the dream, man. This is what they've wanted their whole life. And, that those UFC, those 3 letters, man, that means all the world to them. You finally got there. I know it didn't work out, but we're going to come back and we're going to do bigger, better things. And, it's just going to be a bump in the road. But let's say for that first fucking walkout, man, sitting backstage and getting ready to go out there, how does it feel?
It was good. I mean, a lot of times, especially if I'm getting ready for a fight, it's a lot of thanking Jesus. And now after what was it, Minnesota, I'm a dead man. So that clicks. It's like, yeah, I've been for a long time. It's not up to me. So a lot of thanking Jesus and remind myself, like, whether I in this fight or if I died after this or before or during, it's like, why not give it my all? Why not do what I'm supposed to do? And it's weird because I mean, they're there, they'll come up, but I really don't have, there's not second guesses, there's not fear. It's more just I've accepted everything that can happen and I'm okay with it. I'm okay if my leg breaks. I'm okay if I got to kick 1,000 times and we keep going until I have things put in. I'm okay if I get clipped. I'm okay if I get subbed. I'm okay if the worst things that can happen, I'm okay with. And now it's just about going out there and seeing what I'm capable of. And that was it. I will say this: Bruce Buffer saying my name was the coolest thing ever. It was.
Yeah.
It was like it's hard not to smile. So he was going, and I was looking, and then he started saying it. I just immediately I was like, "Oh, he's saying my name," and the only thing I wanted to do was smile. But I was like, "That's not time to." I probably did. You could probably see me just fucking grinning.
Hell yeah.
Other than that, it was more just like trying to see, like, how far am I, or if I am a distance away, like is this guy that much better than me or whatever. And I spent a long time. I think it was like the first minute or so, just when's he gonna come at me? When's this gonna happen? When's he gonna explode? Instead of just getting right to work. And we've talked about it. It's more about just if God gave me 3 minutes to work and I failed to push a pace or I failed to do my game, that's on me. So whether it ended well or whether it ended badly or whatever, it's like I have to be able to get right to work. This is not a thing where you can play. It's not a thing where you get to go, well, let's see what they got, because everybody's professional and a small slip up can cause you a fight. So we don't get to enjoy fights anymore. We just go in there, do what we have to do, and get out. So it's kind of lame in a lot of senses.
Which I know, not to cut you out, but I know you're not gonna say it out loud. You said any small slip up can fuck it up. Again, I know you ain't gonna say it out loud, but the people should know Josiah knocked himself out on the takedown. That was what happened. So I'll say it for you. Any small slip up, man, you never know what's gonna happen in this game.
Straight up, I went to take him down, and then as soon as I hit, everything went black. I was in a dream. It was like a red. It was weird. It was like in a chair, red room dream, and all I can remember is I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be here. That's the only thing my subconscious was telling me. And then by the time I came back, Dave was like, "Hey, can you walk?" And I'm looking at Dave. I'm like, "What do you mean, can I walk?" And he's like, looking
Where
around.
were you at that time?
We just got out of the cage. We're already walking. He helped me out a bunch. And then I look at him, and then I look
I see you don't even remember me coming in the cage.
No,
then, dude.
not at all.
Okay.
You coming and telling me. So then what's weird is
because you were still trying to attack the ref and shit. They're like, Matt, you got to go stop him. Like,
did it work?
He might be able to take me down too. Right?
Either way, this is the funny part is, so Dave goes, "Hey, dude, can you walk?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So I snap into it. I'm like, "Yeah, I can walk." And I was like, I was just dreaming or something. I look to my right, and you can kind of see it as I'm walking, and I'm still stumbling, and I see this little kid go like this, and I was like, "Oh, I got knocked out." So then immediately you can see me like stand straight back up, and I'm walking perfectly. It's funny. So if you can find any video of me walking out, stumbling, Dave says something to me. I look to the crowd, and as soon as I face forward again, locked in. I'm walking normal. Like I figured everything. I was like, okay. I don't know when I got knocked out, but I was like, the last thing I remember is that takedown. And then so I had to go back and watch the knockout. But yeah, you go back and watch the knockout, my arm just goes here, and then I'm trying to move.
So you hit your head on, like, when you hit your head coming down, because you had a
Mhm.
throw on him.
Yes. So I had the hit, and I swept underneath, and now we're airborne. He's already hipping in, and I wasn't calculating that. And so usually I'm like, I'll basically be right. Head will be near the shoulder, and as he's starting to already fight back, now we get to a point where instead of landing on my shoulder, I'm now landing on the back of my head, and I just boom. So then now as I get this underhook, I was already like, I naturally was getting the underhook because that's where my body was going for, so he couldn't fight up. But by that time, I wasn't even fighting. And then he kind of said it already. He was like, "Yeah, once he goes limp," I was like, "I knew." And then so he just got on top and was doing his thing. But I
Because
mean,
he rolled, so that makes sense now. So what you're saying, it makes sense because you effortlessly took him down. It was like it was a beautiful throw.
thank you.
And then you just the way that you
and then he effortlessly got reversed.
Yes, he did a little break dance move.
Because I remember thinking that at the moment, I was like, how the fuck did you just do that? Like,
Yeah.
Josiah's hit that takedown on me before. It doesn't just, you don't just do that.
Yeah.
That was a power move.
But you know,
it really was.
one of my first thoughts though was, I don't even think I ever told you this, was, you know, my first thought was like, dude, did Josiah just break from, you know, the UFC, the lights, and
Mhm.
you know what I mean? I was like, did he just mentally, you know, not show up all of a sudden? You know, which happens. Like I've seen
Yeah.
it with fighters before their
Yeah.
first time in the octagon. But glad to know that wasn't the case.
Yeah, no, I don't remember anything. It was takedown, red room. It was red and black. And I was like, I'm not supposed to be here. It was like me, my internal being, whatever that was freaking out. I was like, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be here. And the only time that's ever happened was I was going cliff jumping with my buddy LA, and it was about a 35, 40 foot cliff. And we did it a couple times, and he's like, I think I'm going to front flip it. And I was like, not before I do, like in my head. And he's looking over the cliff, and I'm looking over the cliff, and we stop for a little bit, and he's like, okay, I'm ready. And he looks over again to check it one more time. So let me make sure like I'm out of range. So he's here, and he looks, and he goes to step up. And as soon as he does that, I just jump off because I thought he was going. So I was like, I got to make sure I go before him. And by the time, like, so I hit my first flip, I'm probably like, it was way too fast. So I'm like about to hit horizon. And as I'm hitting the horizon, I'm trying to swim backwards. Everybody's done that before. And I happened just to belly smack from a 40-foot cliff. And all I remember is just like, I couldn't breathe in, but I could breathe out. So I'm like trying to push all this air out. I swim to the top. As soon as I get out of the line of water, I'm able to take a breath. Like, I pass out. So then I'm out. And then I remember in my dream, I'm freaking out. I'm like, no, you can't be here. You're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to be here. I wake up on a rock with LA yelling at me, going, hey man, are you okay? You haven't been responding to me. And I go, yeah, I just had a dream. He goes, what? I go, I was out cold. And he goes, really? So luckily we didn't have a seizure then, because there was no saving. I would have drowned for sure. You're not saving somebody with a seizure. But I ended up finding myself to a rock, and I was sitting on the rock. It was probably about 5 feet away. So somehow I was able to get to it. But yeah, that was the only other time that I had that thing happen, where pretty much just me passing out. So whenever I pass out, I apparently just go into a headspace, freaking out, going, "You're not supposed to be here."
Wow.
Man, well, we're just glad that you're okay from it, man, because I'm sure that was, you know, I said on the internet, that was a fear for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'm sure that it was somewhere in the back of your head, like, you know, if you ever got knocked out or something, like what's going to happen. But we got through it, man, and you're feeling good. On to the next. You know, respect to how you handled it afterward. I mean, you know, you kept your head up the whole time and never got too down on yourself. I mean, I've been around people that have lost fights at UFC, and more than once, you know, and there's a lot of emotions that happen, and you know, sometimes people can't control them. Like, you handled it well, and you know, I will show some respect for that.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, not too much else I can do. Just what else? Get to work. I mean, it's the same answer. We've heard bad news all our life. Just get to work.
Rock and roll. Rock and roll. You'll be
Yeah.
back for sure.
Yeah, we will be back, my man. Hopefully sooner rather than later. But
Yeah,
like we were just talking about, it's kind of up to the UFC to decide. And I'm guessing you got a 30-day suspension. Did you get a 60 or 30? Do you
probably.
remember?
I don't
You don't
know.
even know. All right. Well,
No.
all
I
right.
think Jen might know. She was the one that was coordinating all of it. So if I really cared to ask, I could. But I was like, well, I'm gonna be out for a little bit. My brain okay? Cool. I'm leaving. And they're like,
Back at it.
You can leave. I go, cool.
Back at it. Now we're gonna work on getting down to 55 and then
Getting
get back
skinny.
at it, man. So I'm excited for the future. And man, well, we'll definitely have you on podcast as often as we can, bro. Because
Absolutely.
I mean, it's fun hearing your story and stuff, but people don't know you're kind of a silly motherfucker too. You know what I mean? And you can talk a lot of crazy shit. So,
Get me
we'll have you back
canceled.
on, just have maybe a more relaxed conversation next time and just talk some shit.
Absolutely.
So
I appreciate you, boys. Thank you,
yeah,
Coach.
man. All right.
Do
Well,
I
I'll see you up
just?
at the gym, my man, and have a good one.
Yes, sir. Take care.
See you,
Take
bro.
care, man.